Most people's brains are fucked, and mine kind of was too until recently. And this happens usually because of the information we consume, the people we talk to, and the useless conversations they have with us, and listening to negativity. It all just compounds in your brain and inevitably fucks it. But there's hope, and there's a way to fix this. So let's unfuck your brain. So this starts with the body, and then we'll address the mind after. So the body. First, you got to be taking care of yourself. You have to get good sleep. Sleep promotes physical and mental well-being. You'll have clearer thoughts, better performance. You'll be able to consolidate your thoughts better at night. You'll have a better mood. You'll have more energy. You just perform better overall in life. Which, on the same token, you have increased focus and alertness. And this allows you to better regulate your emotions, and you're able to concentrate more. So you can focus more on work and the proper things that are going to benefit your life and not just random bullshit. And there is a lot of science on how to get good sleep, but we'll just go over the basics. So 7 to 9 hours, there's zero dispute to that now. It's essential. No screens an hour before bed. If you're staring at blue light before bed, you're not going to be able to sleep as well. And have a calming wind down routine. You don't need to be meditating for an hour, reading for 2 hours before bed, but make sure you're winding down and not just feeding your brain, bombarding yourself with useless information on TikTok and Instagram right before you go to bed. And then we get into exercise. And exercise is essential for every human on this planet. There's not a single person that cannot benefit in some way from exercise. So you have zero excuse if you're not exercising. And if you're not already exercising in some form and you add it in, I guarantee your life will change for the better. So it can be any type. I'm a gym bro, so I prefer weight training, but anyone can benefit from weight training. I'm not going to get into the science of it, but do a little bit of research. Literally anyone can benefit from weight training. It's a good outlet to stress. It's going to improve your metabolism and you'll look better, which improves your body image. We'll get more into that in a bit. And then the other half is cardio. You don't need to be running 3 to 5 times a week. If you want to, that's great. But at the bare minimum, you should be walking most days. It not only is good exercise, but it gives you time to think and or learn from podcasts or audiobooks while you're walking. It's easy activity. Basically anyone can walk. And it gets you out into the sunlight and nature. So the benefits from exercise. Improved physical health is going to equal improved mental health. It's going to teach you delayed gratification, which will help unfuck your brain because you need to wait a long time before getting the reward. You're used to all this cheap dopamine from Instagram and TikTok, just again bombarding your brain with instant gratification. And if you can learn to work towards something and wait for the goal or wait for the reward, then that's going to slowly rewire your brain to not just need the instant gratification. It's going to improve your body image as well, which with a better self-image comes more confidence. And when you have more confidence, you're not stuck in your brain. You're able to do more things out in the real world like a real human. You'll have a better hormonal and chemical balance, which leads to improved mood and more motivation. And you'll also have more energy, which goes back to increased focus and alertness. And that's exercise. I can't harp on this enough. It is essential if you want to rewire your brain and live a positive, healthy life. And last for the body is your diet. You can't just exercise, you gotta eat good too. What you put in your body equals how you think, feel, and perform. So we want quality food, mostly whole foods, less processed crap. This is gonna help you think better, feel better, sleep better, look better. Again, look better, improve body image, more confidence, and feel better. Go all the way down here. Increase focus and alertness. So all these things just come together. And it's a lot. I won't lie. If you're not doing many of these, you do need to put in some work to get the systems in play and give yourself some grace and time. But once you master your body and start doing all these things, it's like half the progress, just instantly. You feel so much better. There's unlimited science backing the benefits of a healthy lifestyle, not only for your physical well-being, but your mental well-being. So that's where we start, number one. And then we go on to the mind. So, like I mentioned earlier, the information we're intaking is most likely what's fucking our brain. So, we're calling this the information diet. The information you put in your brain is just as important as the food you put in your body. So there's two parts to this: who you surround yourself with and the media and information you consume. So if you're surrounding yourself with negative, not thoughtful people, you're gonna be like them. So this comes down to the conversations you have and who you take advice from. If you're watching good content on social media, but having the same shitty old conversations with your friends who aren't trying to better their life, then your brain is still gonna be fucked. And then we're gonna need to audit your media consumption. Are you trying to learn something meaningful? Can you apply that to your life right now? Or are you just information gathering? Are you creating anything, or are you just, again, information gathering, consuming either, even if it's not useless information, if you're just constantly consuming information, but you're not consolidating your thoughts or outputting something, you're just gonna overload your brain. And I've done that, and it is almost as bad as consuming useless information, because you're like, oh, I'm having all these wonderful thoughts. I should be able to produce this great content, or I should be able to have these good conversations. But because you're just overloading your brain and not getting it out or organizing your thoughts, you don't know what's what. So the best content to consume is going to be long form over short form. So that's books, articles, educational YouTube videos like this, and podcasts. And you should probably be taking notes so that you are not just, again, mindlessly consuming. You can look back and be like, oh, this is where I learned this, and start to connect ideas. And then when you audit your media consumption, you'll realize that you should not be always consuming information, because you need to give your brain a break. So you gotta allow yourself for thinking time without stimulation. If you can't sit by yourself for 5 to 10 minutes at a minimum and either panic, get anxiety, or just feel generally uncomfortable, your brain is fucked and you need to work on that. So when you're bored, don't default to your phone. Either just take deep breaths, just relax, go out in nature, go for a walk. The less you can just pick up your phone and just be, the better you'll start to have a grasp over your brain. If you're consuming a lot of politics and social media, it's gonna stir up emotion. That's what it's meant to do. It's mostly not for your benefit. And if you haven't realized that by now, I hope you can start to realize that soon. And then you should be reflecting, either journal, write, yap to a camera, whatever, but you need to be getting your thoughts out and thinking about your thoughts. And when you have valuable reflection time, it allows you to observe your thoughts, like I said, which we'll go back a little bit. So that was information intake. Another aspect of the mind is mindfulness. So giving your brain a break is very beneficial with meditation. I know people have mixed feelings about meditation. I was very hesitant at first. I've gone through spurts of meditating a lot and then not meditating, and I could literally feel my brain regressing when I stopped meditating. I had less control over my thoughts. I let things get to me easier. I couldn't sit by myself as much. I had more anxiety. And I was like, oh fuck, like this actually works. So now I'm back to meditating pretty often again. And again, I have more control over my brain. Who would have thought? So when you allow yourself to observe your thoughts, you need to be questioning, are your thoughts hurting you or are they serving you? If you're just letting your unconscious brain go rampant and you're not questioning your thoughts, they can be hurting you. If you have negative thoughts that just play over and over and over, and you're not taking a second to realize, wait, these aren't helping me in any way, then you're just gonna keep spiraling down. And on the same token, are they controlling you, or do you control your thoughts? You're always gonna have thoughts. You're not gonna be able to stop them, but you can stop the negative ones, reinforce positive ones, and just generally take a third-party view of your thoughts and see if they're serving you or not. So meditation also helps with emotional regulation. Like I said, you'll be less angry, less anxious, more present, and you'll be able to catch your mind when it loses control. So I used to be a big overthinker, and I would grasp onto a thought and my mind would just go, and I would not be able to stop it. I would just assume the worst of everything, like doomsday thoughts, and I just had no control over it. And then I'm like, why do I have this anxiety? Why can't I function like a normal human? And then when you start meditating and you sit with your thoughts and you realize that they most likely aren't gonna ever become true because you're just projecting worst case scenarios, and you allow yourself to stop and think and be like, okay, I don't need to think this. I can detach myself from it. It again goes back to all of these and helps you regulate your emotions so much better. And then also gets you more present. I've had a bad habit of worrying about the future a lot and wanting to be in a future place where I'm not. And meditation really just brings you back to the present. You're not going to worry about the past or the future. You're here now. This is all we have, is the now. And you're going to focus on the task more at hand. So this translates beyond the 10, 15 minutes that you're meditating. Once you get good at this and in your daily life, you become more present, you become more focused on the task at hand. You're not thinking about all the other problems in your life, and you're able to focus more, get more done, worry less. Compounds. And then the other half of mindfulness is questioning your life. So when you're having these thoughts and starting to recognize whether they serve you or not, you need to be questioning a little bit further. So why do I do X behavior when I know it's bad for me? Say you are smoking a lot and you know it's not serving you. If you can take a step back and be like, okay, maybe I enjoy smoking, but it's not helping me in my life other than that temporary moment where I'm high. And again, instant gratification. If you can take a step back and be like, okay, this isn't serving me anymore, this is a bad behavior, let me replace it with something more positive, then you just start to build momentum. And you question also, how can you improve X area of your life? Do you truly care about this topic? Is this belief mine, or did I just copy it from someone else? Because a lot of people just parrot what they hear online. When you're just taking in information from other people and not processing it for yourself and not getting a deeper understanding, you're just going to spit it back out without, again, understanding it. And then we go to creative output. And this is really the goal. This is where you want to get to. And this is kind of the final piece to the puzzle. So before we get into that, we'll just do a quick recap. So now you're sleeping better, you're exercising, you're eating better, you're going to feel better, and you're just going to perform better. So you start to fix your body, and it just starts to fix your mental. And then you audit the information you're consuming, the people you're talking to, the environment you're in, and see what serves you and what doesn't. And on the other side of that is mindfulness. You can start to meditate. I know, again, most people have mixed feelings about meditation. I can't recommend it enough. Once you start to get control over your thoughts, you question your life more, where you're at, what actions and behaviors you should be taking, what you should be stopping. And then once you have a more positive outlook, you have some control over your life, you need to be gathering all the information and outputting it into a useful project or whatever outlet you'd like. That's what I'm doing now. So you got to get your thoughts out. And like I mentioned before, you can journal, you can write, you can yap to a camera, and then you got to organize your ideas. Are your ideas and beliefs yours or someone else's? And this helps you test your understanding of something. Again, you're not just going to parrot it back. You actually understand the deeper principles behind it and how you arrived at that conclusion. And it just generally allows for better thoughts. Once you have systems in place and you're either writing or journaling, getting your thoughts out, and you're like, oh, this is why I think that, then new and more useful thoughts start to come into play. And if you haven't tried that yet, I would advocate for that being almost as useful as meditation, if not more, to be honest. Because when you know where your thoughts are coming from and you start to have more positive and useful thoughts, the upward spiral starts. And last but not least is creating a life direction. So you're going to need some goals. It gives you something to focus on, allows you to express yourself, and gives you directed learning, which is very important. A lot of people sleep on that. Don't just read something or watch something for the sake of it. Figure out what problems you have in your life right now, or just what information is relevant to you. Figure out the source and intake that information. Don't just go reading a book for the sake of it because a podcaster mentioned it or it's a bestseller. And then this also helps you create the life you want, not what someone else wants for you, which inevitably leads to more fulfillment, more passion, and more authenticity. Because when you're living a life aligned the way you want to live, it just is wonderful. So that is how you unfuck your brain. And this is a slow, long, painful process most of the time, like any self-improvement. But your other option is to have your brain fucked permanently. So I don't think that's a good alternative. But you need to start taking steps. It's a long process, like I said. But once you start to get your body in check, if you're sleeping better, you're going to have more energy to do the things that you need to do. If you exercise, it'll take your mind off your problems. When you eat better, it clears up brain fog. You look better, you have more confidence. Literally, like I said, everything just compounds on each other. And then when you start consuming useful information and stop consuming harmful or negative information, it creates better thoughts. You're able to think clearer. For me, I've been recently unfollowing people and accounts on social media that I don't want to consume the information because it just doesn't help me in any way. It's just nonsense. When you take a step back and become mindful of the content you're consuming, you not only stop the negative patterns, but you also start to seek out more positive and useful information, which again coincides with mindfulness, big word. And then you can start directing the new ideas and learning to a meaningful goal that's gonna actually progress your life. And a lot of this recent awareness for me has come from reading a book called Essentialism, which the main concept is about doing less but better, because I tend to overwhelm myself with many things and information goes along with that. And one of the main concepts other than that is the power of choice. So we all have free will. You have the power to choose what you want to do with your life, what actions you want to take. And for me, that just means not passively consuming information, not just mindlessly consuming information, but being intentional with what information you're consuming, what actions you're doing, and where you want to go in life. So it's a good book. I recommend to anyone to read. But if you can think about those concepts, power of choice and doing less but better, apply a few things that I've talked about here, then your life will change and your brain will be unfucked in due time. Peace.